mics and the TV camera should be on. All right, here we go. All right, as the Secretary of the Planning Commission, I call this meeting of the Upson County Planning Commission to order, January 13th, 2025. We will commence with roll call. Commissioner Hilton.
Here.
Commissioner Fallon.
Here.
Commissioner Murphy.
Here.
Commissioner Steve Rush.
Here.
We have quorum. The first order of business is to elect yourselves just at least one meeting chair to run the rest of the meeting until we get to your actual elections. So do we have nominations for at least a temporary chair? Don't volunteer at once.
I'll nominate Philip Fallon.
Philip Fallon has been nominated. Is there any objection to Philip Fallon being the temporary chair?
I second it.
With no objection, congratulations, you're at least the temporary chair.
All right. Well, we've been a little green here, so call the meeting to order. First agenda is adoption of the last meeting's minutes. I think we all have a copy of that. If you've had a chance to look over them, does anybody see any additions or retractions you have?
I make a motion to approve minutes last month.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0, thank you.
Okay, item number 3, we've got old business. The public hearing continued from the zoning ordinance amendment and the public hearing from the subdivision ordinance amendments. We've batted that around a lot and decided that we're going to wait till we got everybody new in, the new county commissioners in, and I assume that's probably the way we're going to continue forward. Has anybody got any? Well, our new guys really haven't had time to look it over, so there's no need in trying to to do anything at this point. So I think we'll just continue that again.
Right. Mr. Chairman, the discussion we've had behind the scenes is that especially the new chairman would like to do it in chunks. And of course, we have a parallel track here. We've got you working on it, but the Board of Commissioners has had hearings on it too. So we're going to have to sort of have maybe a workshop, or at least the new chairman meet with the other new chairman and figure out how this is going to be handled since we're on the parallel track. So I think the one thing I've heard consistently is they want to do it in chunks. So it won't be, hey, let's do all the amendments all at once. It's let's pick whatever it is we want to pick, and whether it's the first 20 pages or a certain section of it, and then go that way. So I would anticipate before the Planning Commission goes any further is let's find out from the Board of Commissioners how they want to handle this. Obviously, and we were working under the assumption, because we were told, hey, we want this done by December. Well,
right.
That didn't happen. So we basically, what's our new strategy here? And there's been discussion about both of these boards talking it out and figuring it out together. So I don't know what form that's going to take, but if any of you have incidentally run into a Board of Commission members, or the chairman specifically, or even the county administrator, maybe just, hey, what are you guys thinking? Or when are we going to meet? Or is it going to be just a couple of us? Or we're going to have a joint meeting? I mean, we only have to advertise to the media, I think it's either 24 or 48 hours. So even if it's a joint meeting with quorum of one or both bodies, no big deal. We just let the media know, and we can have a meeting like that. Obviously, it would not be comfortably in here, but somewhere. So that's where we are. It's just a big question mark right now where we're going to go. The only thing that's not a question mark is we have not altered or changed any of the recommended amendments, the draft amendments. So for those of you who need to study up. They haven't changed for a few months now. So it's the same stuff. And certainly if you got any questions, please ask me and I'll fill you in. for somebody who doesn't do zoning every day, it can be a little bit, confusing. I get that, so. Anyway, Mr. Chairman, that's all I really have to say about these. We will, and go ahead and, do it in the form of a vote to continue again to your February meeting if there are no other discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Would you like to bring up-
Yeah, I'll make a motion, let's go ahead and continue the public hearing on it.
Okay.
A second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Thank you.
All right, section 5, let's see, new business. We got, okay, new business, anybody got any new business? In particular, we've got approval of the planning commission meeting agenda, which we do need to, you've got a copy of that in your.
That should be scheduled, not agenda.
Yeah,
My mistake.
schedule, not agenda yet.
And unlike the note on the bottom, which was last year, we don't have any holiday conflicts that I'm aware of, so those dates should all be good for this year.
You get that?
It's always the Monday preceding the commissioners meeting, right?
Well, it's the second Monday, the
Yeah, I
fact
think
that,
they're second.
as a matter of fact, Mr. Chairman, there is discussion by the Board of Commissioners that they may go to one meeting a month, and it's not the meeting the second Tuesday, it's actually the fourth. So if they do decide to go that way, we may have to talk to you about your meetings, because obviously, and in the past, we've made changes in process to be more considerate of the citizens. This would be, if we stayed here and the Board of Commissioners went to their new meeting date, that would add 2 weeks in the process to everything that we do. So either that, or if they move to their second meeting of the month, we're going to have to move you 2 weeks forward so that at least that schedule works out. Now, obviously, there's still more time where there's dead, where there's nothing going on, but and then of course, on their case, if they wanted to extend something, in theory, it would go for a whole 4 weeks in a month unless they added another meeting. But that's all in discussion. I don't think it's been voted on, but just something to be aware of.
Is this on their agenda for tomorrow? Their meeting
Good
schedule?
question.
Okay.
I haven't seen the agenda for tomorrow.
Mm. So do we want to approve this, or we don't want to table ours again until we find out what theirs is, so we got to change it?
Either way.
I have no problem tentatively approving it if we'd
Okay.
like to, and then if
All right.
we need to adjust, we can vote on it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We have a motion then to approve the schedule.
Yes.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you.
Okay, new business item B is election of 2025 chairman. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Philip Fallon.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you.
All right, item C is election of vice chairman. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Steve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, congratulations, you've got your officers for the year.
Okay. Item 5, other business. Anybody have any other business we would like to discuss?
I don't have any.
I would like to bring up that as far as the zoning ordinance and the sudden, we're backing up a little bit here, but I would like to see us maybe have a meeting with the county commissioners, or as many of them, once they figure out what portions they're gonna do. I think it would be a good idea for us to hopefully sit down with them and find out what their direction may look like, so that we have an understanding of what they're expecting and what they think. I think it'd be a good idea to know a little bit more intel what they're planning on doing, or what their thoughts are, besides just talking to them on an individual basis. So,
I would support that. I think it's a good idea.
okay. Well, we'll work towards that in the future when we get a little better idea of what they're doing. Item number 6 is any planning commission issues or announcements.
I don't have any issues or announcements.
Don't have any.
7, secretaries issues and announcements, orientation sessions, we got.
Yep, only two, we sort of didn't do orientation for a while. We actually had some past planning commission members who just weren't interested, but especially with the new blood that we've got coming on, I'm gonna revitalize the local curriculum. And so we'll be contacting those of you who are certainly new or newish. And, you know, even though the new chair has been here for a year, if you want to go through it too. It's a lot more detailed and it can be kind of heavy, but I sort of hit you with everything that you need to know. And, you know, if you want to have it jointly, we can do it that way. And traditionally, it's always one at a time because we normally only get one new commissioner at a time. That's sort of been the tradition. So we do one new orientation. And my orientation is a little more intense than what you'll have with the Vincent Institute, and a lot more detail, and we provide you more what I think is practical information and background. So we'll be contacting you and giving you, Jeff definitely had his orientation, I remember that. I won't put you through that unless you want to be put through that.
Not really.
What's the time we need to allot? What does it take?
We can keep it to an hour.
Okay.
You know, and, you know, generally speaking, if we go longer, it's because the member wants to ask a lot more questions. And, you know, so we'll schedule an hour, but if you want to give you some free board after that to go longer, that's up to you. And maybe that's a good reason maybe to schedule you individually so that, you know, if one of you wants to take a little longer or wants to speed through it, you can do that. And then we've been doing the Vincent Institute training for 9 or 10 of the 12 years I've been here, so we certainly encourage y'all to go to it. Chairman, you just were the latest one to go through the 101 if you want to share, you know, what your experience was, but that leads into the next agenda item. As you see in your packets, the Vincent Institute training, obviously there's one tomorrow, and that didn't make sense to get anybody going tomorrow. But we've got until April for the first 101, and for those of you who are a little further along, if you don't want to go to 102, et cetera, or if you want to knock 2 of them out this year, we do ask for the budget every year, and the commissioners are very good about giving us budget to send you to these events and classes. So we do reimburse you for your lunch and for your gas if you want that. And there's a tuition that we pay the Vincent Institute to send you. Mr. Chairman, you want to?
It was informative. It was worth going to, I would say. You know, I'd definitely go to the next one and see how much more in depth they can go. It wasn't excessively in depth, but it was a lot of information, a lot of unanswered questions. I didn't actually get to go through the orientation, Doug, so I called you a lot with a lot of questions, but yeah, I think it's definitely worth going to if y'all are interested in going.
Well, and you've got a year's worth of experience. I know were some of your classmates brand new and hadn't really attended many meetings?
Right, there was some new, some existing, some had been there a while, you know, and it was a lot of bigger cities, municipals. So what they think about and look at and talk about is a lot vastly different than what we deal with here. And there was a lot of information though that came from that. It's always nice to hear what is going on in other places and some of the things that they use in their decisions that we haven't had to think about but may have to in the future. So.
Excellent. Yeah, I would always advocate, I think I've been to 3 of the 4 now, and I think they're good basic information. Again, you don't always have to agree with the perspective, but it still gives you a perspective. They tend to have the same instructor, and obviously she's got her experience in a certain direction. And I've definitely heard some commissioners come back and say, well, I'm not sure I buy everything we were just taught. That's fine, there's no problem with that. At least let's just spur the discussion and whatever you learn from that. And certainly if there's anything you hear at the training that you want to talk to me about, like I said, absolutely.
Like I said, there was a lot of stuff with them that, like I said, in the bigger cities, that just really don't particularly apply in our cases, and a little over the top. But there again, at some point we will be facing things like that, so it was handy to see how they handle it.
And that's just the luck of the draw, because sometimes I've been in those sessions and yeah, there's 2 or 3 other small communities that maybe not as small as Upson County, but not much bigger. So it just depends. Sometimes you get the bigger ones, sometimes the smaller ones that are a mix. That's it about the sessions. Like I said, we'll be contacting you about the orientation, which is, you know, what I do, and then you've got the schedule for the Vincent, obviously April is the next available. So in a couple of months, if we don't contact you and remind you, please talk to us. Guadalupe will make you don't make any of the arrangements. We make it all for you. We'll take care of the tuition, and then you will have to submit paperwork for reimbursement. That concludes the Secretary's issues and announcements, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I can definitely say in the year I've been here, this will be the shortest meeting that we've, does anybody want to make a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
That's 5:44. Thank you very much.
Meeting adjourned.